Toma was not a hero. He was just a repairman, one who lived and worked on an old mining station that floated near a red gas giant called Dromo 7. Every day was the same: fix broken machines, eat recycled food, and sleep under flickering lights. Life was simple, quiet, and boring. He liked it that way. But on the 93rd rotation of the cycle, everything changed. It started with a strange signal. Toma was in the communication room, running a system check, when his screen lit up. A message was coming through, old, broken, and filled with static. The signal was weak, but it was unlike anything he had ever seen. "Bach," Toma said, turning to his translator drone. "Can you clean this up?" The round, floating machine blinked its single blue eye. "Signal is ancient. Language is classified as galactic high speech." Toma raised his eyebrows. "That's royal speech. Only kings and queens use that." The drone beeped. Playing translated message now. A soft, calm voice came from the speaker. It was powerful, yet gentle. A woman's voice. "To the human who finds this, my daughter, Princess Lyrae, is missing. She vanished during a visit to the outer colonies. We believe she is alive, but held against her will. Return her safely, and my kingdom will be yours. This is the word of Queen Revalin of Velar Prime." Toma blinked twice. "What?" Bach repeated. The message, it was real. He sat back in his chair. His heart was beating fast now. He had heard stories of the Velarital, graceful aliens with glowing patterns on their skin. Their planet, Velar Prime, was rich and powerful. They rarely spoke to humans, let alone offered them power. "Must be a trick," Toma muttered. But Bach shook its head. "Signal is genuine. Origin confirms Velar royal frequency. Date stamp is recent." Toma stared at the screen. He could ignore it. He could pretend he never got the message. That would be easy. No one would know. But something in the Queen's voice stayed in his mind. There was pain there, fear. A mother looking for her daughter. He sighed. "You know what this means, Bach. Danger." The drone replied, "Exactly." Still, Toma couldn't look away from the screen. 3 hours later, Toma sat in front of the Council of Station Heads, a small group of old workers who ran the mining station. They looked at him with tired eyes as he explained the signal. "You want to go after a missing alien princess?" one man said, laughing. Toma nodded. "Yes. She might be held by someone, maybe even humans. That would cause war." An older woman frowned. "You're just a fixer. Why would you take this risk?" "Because I found the message." "Because no one else will." "Because maybe I want to do something that matters." They looked at him for a moment. Then the woman nodded slowly. "You'll get no help from us, but we won't stop you either." "Fair enough." Toma packed light. A small ship called the Mule, a map of outer colonies, a survival kit, and his translator drone. Bach. Before he left, he stood in the hangar and looked out at the stars. "So many lights, so many dangers. You sure about this?" Bach asked. "No," Toma said, stepping into the ship. "But it feels right." The Mule lifted off, its old engines rumbling. Toma set the course toward the outer zone where the princess was last seen, near a place called Fire and Reach, close to the border of unclaimed space. The journey took 5 days. On the 4th day, Bach detected something strange. Encrypted data trail. Small ship. Velari's signature. Last seen in Fire and Reach. Then vanished. Could be her, Toma said. The Mule entered Fire and Reach. It was a lonely area, dead moons, broken stations, old ships floating like ghosts. But something felt wrong suddenly. An alert flashed. Pirate signal detected, Bach said. A small fighter ship appeared on the radar. Then another, and another. "We're not welcome here," Toma said. The pirates hailed him. A voice came through. "Human ship, this is our zone. Turn around or be turned to dust." Toma didn't flinch, looking for someone. A girl. "Velari. Taken here." Silence, then laughter. "She's not yours. Go back." So they did have her. Thomas. Hands tightened on the controls. "Guess we're not going back." Bach floated close. "You plan to fight them?" "No," Toma said. "I plan to outsmart them." In the blackness of space, Toma powered down all lights and used the mule's old mining tools to drift quietly behind broken satellites. He sent out a fake distress signal, making it look like he was crashing. The pirates moved into scavenge dot as they got close. Toma turned on a magnetic pulse bomb he built from spare parts. It fried the systems of 2 pirate ships in seconds. The third one flew off in fear. Toma grinned. Still got it. With the path open, he followed the Valari data trail deeper into Firen Reach. It led to an asteroid field and hidden inside a base dot, an old mining station, long forgotten, but now guarded by drones and patrols. Bach scanned it. Energy readings inside, one match for Valari lifeform. Toma leaned back in his seat. Princess Lyrae, we found her. But finding her was the easy part. Now, he had to get inside Dot and get her out alive. The asteroid base looked like a sleeping beast. It floated quietly among the rocks, but small blinking lights and patrolling drones showed that it was awake. Toma watched from a safe distance in his ship, the mule. Too many guards, he whispered. Can't just walk in. Bach, his floating translator drone, hovered beside him. Life signal is still active. Strong. She is alive. Good, Toma said. Now we just need a way inside without getting turned into space dust. He studied the rotating pattern of the drones. They moved in a slow, repeating circle almost like they were programmed by someone lazy. Looks like the patrol code is old, Toma said. Maybe I can trick it. He opened a hidden panel on the mule's dashboard and pulled out a small cube. It was a hacking tool he once built to fix broken doors. He had never used it on a military system before. There's a first time for everything, he said with a nervous smile. Toma waited for the right moment, then slowly guided the mule through the asteroid field. The ship stayed close to the rocks, moving like a shadow. When he reached the service hatch on the base's side, he stopped. Now, he said, placing the cube into the control slot. For a moment, nothing happened, then click, the hatch opened. With a soft hiss, Toma grinned. We're inside. The base was dark and cold. The lights flickered. The walls were scratched and dusty. It smelled like rust and old oil. Not very royal, Toma said quietly. He moved carefully through the halls, holding a small scanner. Bach floated behind him, watching for movement. Soon, they reached a security room. Toma peeked inside. A human guard sat there, half asleep, watching a screen. One guard. Easy. Toma pulled a small metal ball from his pocket, another tool he built. He rolled it across the floor. When it stopped near the guard's feet, it let out a high-pitched beep. The guard stood up, confused. Then poof, a cloud of white mist shot into his face. He dropped to the floor, snoring. Toma nodded. Sleep gas. Works every time. He stepped over the guard and checked the screen. A red dot blinked on the map. That's her. Bach confirmed. Lower level. Room 17B. Let's move. As they walked deeper into the base, they passed locked doors, strange machines, and boxes marked with the symbol of the Human Rogue League, a group known for causing trouble in the galaxy. Toma frowned. I had a feeling humans were behind this, possibly, Bach said, but some signs suggest outside help. Funding, weapons, advanced tech, someone big is backing them, Toma guessed. Finally, they reached room 17B. The door was thick and locked with a fingerprint scanner. Toma pulled out a thin wire and connected it to the panel. Come on. After a few tense seconds, the panel turned green. The door opened inside. The room was quiet and dim, a single bed, a table, and soft lights. On the bed sat a young alien woman with rich teal blue skin. Her long hair fell over her shoulders, and soft glowing patterns shimmered on her arms. She looked up calmly as Toma entered. You're not a guard, she said, her voice clear. Toma lowered his tool and stepped forward. Princess Lyrae, she nodded. And you are? Toma, I came to get you out. She tilted her head. Why would a human risk his life for me? Your mother sent a message, Toma said. She promised her kingdom if I brought you back. Lyrae smiled slightly. That sounds like her. A deal with a heart behind it? Toma looked around. Are you hurt? No. They keep me safe, for now. but I know they plan to move me soon, somewhere worse. Then we need to leave, now." They hurried back through the halls. But as they neared the exit, alarms began to scream. "Wee-you! Wee-you!" "They found the open hatch," Bach said. "They know we're here. Time to run." Toma shouted. Larry followed without question. As they turned the corner certainly. Here is part 3 of the HFY Sci-Fi story, Return My Daughter Safely. Human and my kingdom will be yours, word count. Approximately 1,000, third person, simple English. Clean content. Alarms screamed through the halls of the hidden base. Red lights flashed across the metal walls. Toma ran fast, pulling Princess Lyrae behind him. Bach, the small floating drone, zipped beside them. "They are closing in," Bach said, scanning the area. "We're almost there," Toma shouted. Blaster shots echoed behind them. 2 guards chased them through the long hallway, shouting orders and firing. Sparks flew from the walls as the shots hit close. Toma turned left and slid behind a crate. He pulled Lyrae down with him. "We need to slow them down," he said dot from his pocket. He pulled a tiny round device, a smoke pod. He rolled it into the hall. It exploded in a cloud of thick white smoke, covering everything. The guards stopped. One coughed and shouted, "They're using gas." That gave Toma and Lyrae a few more seconds. They moved again, ducking and running toward the hangar door. Bach beeped. "Your ship is still safe. No damage detected. Let's hope it stays that way," Toma said. They reached the outer door. Toma punched the code into the panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a loud hiss, the door opened. Fresh air rushed in from the docking bay. The mule was right there, an old, bumpy ship, but loyal. "Get inside," Toma said. Lyrae jumped in. Toma followed and sealed the hatch. As he ran to the pilot seat, Lyrae buckled into the co-pilot chair. "Do you know how to fly?" Toma asked. "I've flown royal shuttles," she replied. "Good enough." The mule's engines roared to life. Outside, more guards arrived, shouting and firing at the ship. But Toma had already lifted off. The mule blasted through the hangar, out into the asteroid field. The space around them was tight and full of floating rocks. The old base was hidden inside the Misfire Nebula, a glowing, dangerous part of space filled with magnetic storms and thick clouds. "Hang on," Toma said. "This isn't going to be smooth." The mule dodged sharp asteroids, spun past broken satellites, and flew straight into the clouded sky of the nebula. Behind them, 3 small ships gave chase, fast, sleek pirate fighters. "They're following us," Bach warned. "Of course they are," Toma muttered. Lyrae's eyes moved quickly over the controls. "Weapons?" Toma shook his head. "This is a miner's ship. We have tools, not guns." Lyrae pointed. "That's a plasma cutter." "Yes, for cutting rock." "Can we use it on a ship?" Toma blinked, then smiled. "That might actually work." He turned the ship sharply and flew back toward the biggest asteroid in view. One of the pirate ships followed closely. "Hold steady," Lyrae said. Toma kept the mule straight as the enemy ship lined up behind them. Lyrae activated the plasma cutter. A beam of bright energy shot out from the mule's tail. The pirate ship flew straight into it. Boom! It exploded in a burst of fire and metal. "One down," Lyrae said calmly. "Remind me never to argue with you," Toma said, gripping the controls. The other 2 pirate ships tried to box them in. Toma gritted his teeth. Time to do something stupid. He flew straight into the storm clouds of the nebula. Inside the Misfire Nebula, visibility was almost zero. Purple clouds swirled around them. Electric sparks flashed across the windows. The ship shook from the pressure. "This area is unstable," Bach warned. "Magnetic spikes will interfere with all systems." "I know," Toma said. "That's why they won't follow us here." He was wrong. One of the pirate ships darted into the clouds. It fired blindly, but missed. Suddenly, a massive magnetic bolt struck both ships. The mule shook hard, and the enemy ship behind them caught the full blast. It spun out of control and crashed into an asteroid. Boom! The second one was gone. Toma laughed, and nature takes care of the rest. Only one pirate ship remained, but it stopped at the edge of the storm. Unwilling to risk the same fate, "We're safe for now," Lyrae said. Toma nodded. "Now we just need to get out of this cloud before it cooks us." He piloted the mule carefully through the swirling storm. It took time, but finally the clouds faded and the stars came into view again. The mule floated quietly in space, safe for now. They set the ship on autopilot and took a moment to breathe. Toma sat back in his chair, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Well, that was fun." Lyrae smiled softly. "I've never been rescued like that before." "First time for everything," Toma replied. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Lyrae spoke. "You're not like the others. The humans I've met. Most are loud, proud, or cruel. But you're different. You listen. You think before you act." Toma shrugged. "I'm just trying not to die." She looked at him kindly. "Still, thank you." Bach beeped softly. Incoming message from Velar Prime. Encrypted. Toma sat up, put it on. A voice filled the cabin. It was Queen Revalent, strong, calm, and full of emotion. "To the human Toma. We have received your signal. If my daughter is alive and safe, you are to be welcomed in Velar space. A royal escort will meet you at the given coordinates. Thank you." Lyrae smiled. "Mother never shows her feelings, but that was her way of crying." Toma nodded slowly. "Guess we better not mess this up." But far away, in the shadows of deep space, someone else was watching. A man sat in a dark room, staring at a screen. "They escaped," he said quietly. A voice crackled over the speaker. "Yes, the human took her." The man leaned forward. "Let him run. Let him feel safe. When he reaches Velar Prime, we'll strike." The screen went black. Toma sat in the pilot's seat of the mule, checking every system carefully. The ship had just passed through the dangerous Misfire Nebula, and the damage was serious. Lights flickered, engines overheated, and one of the thrusters was barely working. "Can we make it to Velar Prime?" he asked. Bach, the floating translator drone, made a slow beep. "If nothing goes wrong, yes, but this ship is not made for long jumps." Princess Lyrae stood behind them, watching the stars through the window. Her bright blue eyes glowed slightly in the dim light. Toma turned to her. "We need to move fast. That last pirate didn't follow us, but he'll call for backup." Lyrae nodded. "Let's not waste time, then." Toma entered the coordinates for Velar Prime, the home planet of the Velari, hidden deep in a protected star system. It was far, but not impossible to reach. The mule's engine started to hum. Toma grabbed the control stick tightly, jumping to velocity in 3, 2, 1. With a loud roar, the mule shot forward into the stars. The journey to Velar Prime would take 2 days. Inside the ship, the air was warm and quiet for the first time in days. There was no danger, no alarms, no gunfire. Toma worked on repairs while Lyrae rested. Bach floated between them, sometimes helping, sometimes giving advice no one asked for. As Toma fixed a broken wire near the control panel, he looked over at Lyrae. "Can I ask something?" She turned to him. "Of course. Why were you at the edge of human space, alone? That's not something a princess usually does." Lyrae smiled a little. "I wasn't alone at first. I came with a peace team. We were visiting outposts and learning about humans. I wanted to see things myself." Toma raised an eyebrow. "That's brave. Or foolish," she replied. "But I wanted to understand. My people are afraid of humans. They think you're wild, dangerous. I wanted to see if that was true. And what did you find?" She looked at him with soft eyes. "I found people. Like you." Toma laughed quietly. "Then we're lucky you didn't meet the bad ones first." "I did." She said seriously. "They took me, locked me in that base. But even then, I saw fear in their eyes. Not power fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of the future. That's why they wanted me." Toma frowned. "Because of who you are. Because of what I carry." She said, "A genetic key. The Velari crown is tied to our DNA. If someone controls the air, they can control Velari tech, even the Royal Defense Fleet." Toma sat back. "That's why the pirates wanted you alive." "Yes," she said. "They didn't just want war. They wanted to steal a kingdom? Toma thought for a long moment. Then he said, "Well, not if I can help it." Later that night, as Toma rested in his bunk, the ship's warning system beeped, beep, beep, beep. He jumped up and ran to the control room. Bach was already there. "Small ship detected," Bach said. "No ID code. Approaching fast." Toma cursed under his breath. How did they find us? Lyrae appeared behind him. They tracked the jump signal. It leaves a trail. The small ship came into view on the screen. It was a black fighter, sharp and fast. It moved like a shadow in the sky. "They're hailing us," Bach said. "Put it through," Toma said. A cold voice filled the room. "You have something that belongs to us. Hand her over, and you live." Toma leaned forward. "I'm not giving her to anyone." "You don't understand," the voice replied. "This isn't just about her. This is about balance. If she returns to the throne, peace will end. War will follow." Toma laughed. "You're trying to sound noble, but you kidnapped a princess." The voice grew hard. "Last chance." The screen went black. Then the enemy ship opened fire. The mule shook under enemy fire. Sparks flew from the ceiling, and the control panel flashed red. They hit the left thruster. Bach shouted. Spinning in panic. Toma gripped the steering lever. "We can still fly, but not for long, princess." Lyrae sat in the co-pilot seat, her hands moving fast over the control screen. "I'm rerouting power to shields." Another blast hit the back of the ship. The force pushed them sideways. "Shields won't hold," Bach warned. Toma made a quick decision. "Hold on. I'm taking us into the debris field." He turned the mule sharply and flew into a patch of broken space, trash-old ship parts, dead satellites, and pieces of space stations that floated like silent ghosts behind them. The black fighter followed closely. "They're faster than us," Lyrae said. Toma smiled. "But we're smaller. Watch this." He guided the mule through a narrow gap between two floating metal slabs. The enemy ship followed, but clipped one of the slabs. A loud crash echoed in space. "They're damaged," Bach shouted. "Not enough," Toma replied. "We need to finish this." Lyrae pointed to a large power core floating ahead. "That fuel cell is unstable. If we push it into their path," Toma was already moving. He activated the mule's mining arm and pushed the old fuel cell forward. As the enemy ship came closer, the cell spun toward it. Boom! A bright explosion lit up the black sky. The enemy fighter was gone. The mule flew forward, silent again. Toma sighed with relief. That was too close. Lyrae looked at him. "You risked your life for me. Again. I said I would bring you home." He replied simply. Later, the mule moved through quiet space. The stars were peaceful now. Toma and Lyrae sat in the back of the ship, sharing warm water and dry food. "Are all humans like you?" Lyrae asked. Toma laughed. "No. Most are a lot louder. Some are better, some worse. I've met leaders who only speak in threats, soldiers who see everything as a fight. But you fix things. You think before you act." Toma looked down. "I'm just a repairman. I didn't plan to be a hero. Maybe that's why you were one." They sat quietly for a moment. Then Toma asked, "What happens when we reach Velar Prime?" "My mother will welcome you," Lyrae said. "You'll receive a reward. Maybe even land, a title." "I don't care about that," Toma said honestly. "I just want to make sure you're safe." Lyrae looked at him with deep eyes. "What if I told you I don't want the throne?" Toma blinked. "What?" She nodded. "I've seen more during this journey than I ever did in the palace. I've learned that our people are too proud. They don't listen. They fear humans. And fear leads to war. So what do you want?" "I want peace. I want to help build something new. Not as a queen, but as someone who understands both sides." Toma sat back. "That's bold. Would you help me?" she asked. He smiled. "If you're going to fix a broken galaxy, you need someone who knows how to fix broken things." As they neared Velar Prime, the stars around them changed. The ship passed through glowing rings of light. A huge fleet of silver ships appeared on the radar. Royal Guards. Bach beeped. "We are entering Velari space. Royal escort detected." A voice came through the radio. "This is Guardian 2 of the Velari Royal Fleet. You are cleared for approach. Prepared to land. Lyrae straightened her posture. Her calm voice returned. Thank you, Guardian 2. Tell my mother I'm coming. Home. The mule landed on a floating platform above Velara City, the capital of Velar Prime. The city sparkled with towers of crystal and smooth glowing bridges. Thousands of Velari citizens stood quietly, waiting as Toma and Lyrae stepped out of the ship. A group of royal guards bowed low. Then came the queen. Queen Rivalan walked forward tall, proud, and graceful. Her eyes filled with light when she saw her daughter. Lyrae, she said softly, pulling her into an embrace. I'm home. Mother, Lyrae replied. The queen turned to Toma. And you, human, you brought her back. As I promised, my kingdom is yours. The crowd gasped. Even the guards looked surprised. Toma stepped back. Your Majesty, I don't want your kingdom. I just wanted to help. The queen studied him. Then you are wiser than many kings I have known. Lyrae stepped forward. Mother, I have something to say. The queen nodded. I do not wish to be queen, Lyrae said clearly. I have seen other stars, met other people. The galaxy is changing. We must change too. Some nobles looked shocked. Some whispered. But the queen listened. What do you suggest? She asked. A council, Lyrae said. A shared council of Velari and humans. One that listens, builds, and protects, Toma added. Start something new, something better. Queen Rivalan was silent for a moment. Then she smiled. Very well, she said. Let the age of division end, and let the work of unity begin. Queen Rivalan sat alone in the royal chamber. The tall windows showed the skies of Velar Prime. Glowing with soft blue light, ships moved silently across the sky like silver birds. Her thoughts, however, were not peaceful. She had her daughter back. She had kept her promise to the human. And yet, something felt different now, something deeper than politics. Lyrae had changed, so had the galaxy. The doors opened. High Visor Thorn, a strict Velari noble with golden skin markings, entered. My queen, he said with a deep bow, the council waits for your decision. Rivalan turned to him. Do they all oppose the human's offer? Thorn lifted his head. Most do. A few are silent. None support it. They believe the idea of a shared council is dangerous. Because they fear change, because they fear weakness. The queen stood and looked out the window. Is it weakness to seek peace? It is seen as surrender. She closed her eyes for a moment. Then she said, let them wait. I will decide soon. Meanwhile, in the guest chambers of the palace, Toma stood near a balcony, looking over the city. Tall towers of crystal reflected the soft moonlight. He had never seen anything so beautiful. Lyrae entered, dressed in simple royal blue robes. She walked beside him. You're quiet today, she said. I don't belong here, Toma replied. Look at this place. Look at me. You saved the princess, she said. You flew through pirate space. You gave up a kingdom. You belong here more than most nobles do. Toma smiled a little. But will they see it that way? She looked at him. Some already do. Just then, Bach floated in through the door. Message from Queen Rivalan. She asks for both of you. In the royal hall. Toma's smile faded. Here we go. The royal hall was full. Nobles stood on both sides, their robes shining. Velari guards lined the walls. In the center was the queen's high chair, and Queen Rivalan sat upon it. All eyes turned to Toma and Lyrae as they entered. Queen Rivalan raised a hand. Let it be recorded. This is the day we decide the future of Velar Prime, Advisor Thorn. Step forward. This human, he pointed at Toma, is a foreigner. He holds no title, no family, no name among us, and yet he is offered a place in power? Queen Rivalan nodded. He returned my daughter. Thorn replied. And now he wishes to lead our people? Toma stepped forward. I don't want power. I want peace. I want a seat where voices are heard, not silenced. A murmur moved through the room. Queen Rivalan looked at her daughter. And you, Lyrae, you refuse the throne. I do. Lyrae said clearly, I will serve, not rule. I will walk among the people, not above them. There was silence. Then Queen Revalin stood. I have ruled long, she said, and I have ruled alone. But the time has come to do what is right, not what is easy. From this day forward, Velar Prime will have a unity council, Velari and human together. Let wisdom guide us all. The room burst into whispers. Some nobles bowed low. Others walked out silently. But the queen had spoken. The decision was final. That night, Lyrae and Toma sat in the royal gardens under soft glowing trees. The stars above were calm. You changed everything today, Toma said. No, Lyrae replied. We did. He looked at her. What happens now? We build. We teach. We listen. Sounds harder than flying through pirate space. He joked. She laughed. Probably. A servant arrived with a message. Toma opened it. His smile faded. What is it? Lyrae asked. He handed it to her. The note read, You may have returned the princess, but the war is not over. The galaxy does not want peace. We are not done with you yet. The Black Sun. Lyrae's face turned serious. They're still out there. Toma nodded. They'll come back. And next time, they'll strike harder. She looked at him. Then we'll be ready. He looked into her glowing eyes. Together, always, she said. And the stars above them shined a little brighter. 3 weeks passed since Queen Revalin had declared the birth of the Unity Council. Across Velar Prime, people talked about only one thing: the human named Toma who returned the princess and changed history. Some praised him, some feared him, but none ignored him. Now, in the tall round chamber of the newly formed council, 12 seats circled a glowing map of the galaxy. Half the seats were Velari nobles. Half were chosen humans, leaders, thinkers, and builders. Toma sat at one of them, dressed in simple robes, just the way he liked it. At the head of the circle stood Princess Lyrae, now called Ambassador Lyrae. Her title changed by her own wish. She spoke clearly. The old world ended with weapons. Let the new world begin with words. The members nodded in agreement. The meeting had begun. After the meeting, Toma walked through the marketplace of Velar City. People waved at him, some with smiles, some with unsure eyes. Children pointed at him and whispered, That's the human from the stars. Toma smiled kindly and waved back. He bought warm bread from a Velari baker and sat on a stone bench. Bach floated beside him. Scanning the crowd, public reaction is 68% positive, Bach said. That's better than I expected, Toma replied, chewing. But still 32% worried. They'll come around. He looked up as Lyrae walked toward him, carrying a bag of scrolls and data chips. Are those more peace proposals? Toma asked. She laughed. These are farming plans and new school ideas. One human farmer suggested Velari trees could grow better on Earth's red soil. Smart, Toma said. They sat together as the sun began to set. The glowing sky painted the buildings golden and pink. For a while, they didn't speak. They just watched the city breathe. But the peace didn't last long. Suddenly, Bach beeped loudly, warning. Unknown ship entered orbit. Toma stood up. Who is it? Signal blocked. But shape matches known pirate model. Black Sun design, Lyrae's face became serious. They're back. Within minutes, alarms rang across the city. Sky guards flew up to ward the stars. The royal fleet activated shields. Queen Revalin called an emergency meeting. Toma and Lyrae ran to the command tower, where giant screens showed the black ship slowly approaching the atmosphere. It's not attacking, said one commander. Just floating. Let's hear their message, Queen Revalin said. The screen changed. A man appeared, tall, scarred, and wearing a black coat with the symbol of a burning sun. He spoke calmly. You think peace is power. You think humans and Velari belong together. You are fools. That human beside your daughter is the start of your weakness. You give him your trust. Soon, it will cost you everything. Then the screen went black. Silence filled the room. Everyone looked at the queen. She stood, strong and proud. We are not afraid of threats. We will not return to fear. Let him talk. We will build. Toma turned to her. But he won't stop. He'll strike when we're not ready. Queen Revalin nodded. Then we must always be ready. That night, Toma worked in the repair bay. Under the palace, He looked at the mule, his old ship. He smiled, remembering every blast, every escape, every dusty panel. Now, he wasn't running anymore. He was preparing. Lyrae entered quietly. "You're going back to space, aren't you?" Toma turned. "Someone has to find out where the Black Sun is hiding. If we wait too long, they'll do something worse." She stepped closer. "You don't have to go alone." "I do," he said gently. "You belong here now, with the people, with the council." She looked into his eyes. "I will stay, but promise me you'll come back." "I promise." The next morning, Toma flew out in the mule once more. The council watched his ship rise through the skies and vanish into the stars. Lyrae stood on the tower, holding a small metal charma. Gift from Toma. It was shaped like a gear with a single word on it: hope. Weeks passed. The council grew stronger. Human and Velari teams built new schools, trade centers, and research hubs. Communication between Earth and Velar Prime became daily. People slowly started to believe. And then one day, the mule returned. Toma stood in front of the council again, tired but smiling. "I found them," he said. "The Black Sun is gathering in a dead system near the Void Belt. But they're not just pirates anymore, they've joined with others. Angry groups, scared groups, they call themselves the Pure. They believe humans and Velari should stay apart forever." Council members exchanged serious looks. "They'll attack?" Lyrae asked. "Yes," Toma replied. "But not just. With ships, with lies, with fear." Queen Revalan stood. "Then we must be stronger than fear." And so, the true work began. The Unity Defense Fleet was born, built by human hands and Velari tech. Toma trained engineers. Lyrae traveled between worlds. Queen Revalan ruled with calm wisdom. The people changed. The stars watched. And across the galaxy, stories were told. Stories of a quiet human repairman who didn't want power, who didn't seek glory, but who saved a princess, united worlds, and showed all of them that peace was not weakness. It was the bravest path of all.